Yo, guys, I'm sorry for letting my cousin do that intro. That shit was fucking horrific. I'm so sad you guys had to listen to that shit. And if you guys want to support the boy, make sure to go check out my code Focus. It's the cleanest supplement in the game. You already know how that goes. And make sure to check out with my Nexus link to get them gyms. You know what I mean? Let's go 9.1 bonus because that's going to happen immediately, right? The Odin skin, this skin is insane. I'm definitely grabbing that. I would play this if Arachne was an actual character. All right, let's go over the buff a bonus balance live February 8th. This is in 6 days, guys. Fixed an issue where this item was dealing more damage than intended. Definitely didn't feel that. This now deals 7% of your current health instead of max health. Nerf. This is now deals magical damage instead of true damage. Another nerf. Double nerf to chaotic beads, excuse me. Decrease healing per tick from 10. Sorry, chat, I'm burping a little bit. Decrease healing per tick from 10 flat plus 5% of missing health and mana to 10 plus 3% of missing health and mana. So yeah, huge nerf, honestly, especially to the scaling. Decrease healing per tick from 10 to 5 missing health. All right, same thing goes for the greater cloak. Decrease healing tick. All right, 30 from 30 plus 6% missing health from 30 to plus 4%. 4%. Yeah, they just nerfing med all around. You know, the obvious med was kind of ridiculous for a while. Decrease passive effect damage and healing mana gain from 25 to 20. Increase passive cooldown from 8. Wow, that's a big hit to Warrior's Axe. Wow, Warrior's Axe in the grounds. Maybe not. People probably still pick it up, but it seems pretty bad. Decrease attack speed of 20 to 15. Crusher. Yeah, everybody's building Crusher. Makes sense. I don't mind this change. Decrease physical power scaling from 90 to 80. Small change, small tweak to Achilles. Alright, so we'll talk about the passive right quick on Bastet. Decrease lifesteal against gods from 5% to 0.75% per level to 5 plus 0.5. So 0. The scaling gets hit pretty hard. At level 20, decrease from, so this is the overall change. Decrease lifesteal against minions. Okay, so they're hitting her passive all around. The lifesteal as well. So lifesteal against gods to 15%. Against minions, 7%. Okay. And decrease the base damage on the ult to 160 to 400. So it's not the strongest ulti early damage wise. Still has a lot of obviously insane utility. Now we're gonna look at Camazot's. Increase cooldown from 15 seconds to 17-15, so it scales. So his early game is weaker, so you can't farm as fast. I think that's about right because his cleave is great. So this is a good change in my opinion. Increase cooldown from 100 seconds to 120. Wow, they hit his early game so hard. So hard. Wow, that's a big hit. Increase Ragnarok cooldown from 90 to 100. Damn, Fenrir got hit hard too. Shout out to Aurora for making that happen. Decrease burst damage from 50 to 250 to 50 to 230. Still a pretty good ability. Decrease burst damage, physical power scaling 5%. So yeah, all around Dropkick got hit. Damage in the damage department. Decrease base damage from 80 to 240 from 60 to 220. Yeah, just hitting his damage pretty hard. That's good. I don't think this character should have that type of damage on both these abilities, especially when he's an auto attack character in his own way. Decrease physical power scaling from 90 to 80%. Just a small hit on his Anami. And then Mulan mini nerf. Nerf to her early game as it still scales to 260 on the spear thrust. It hits the level 1, level 2, level 3 pretty hard. So we'll see. We'll see what the future is. I think realistically speaking, we're going to overcap on this. Just a small tweaks all around, really clean tweaks to the characters that we're showing that were very, very, very strong, as well as to the items and relics. I enjoy these changes all around. Now let's move into the 9.2 Shiva coming out. Let's see what's good. We could show the character, but let's go over the abilities. Let's look over the numbers first. Shiva cycles between the states of bliss and destruction by dealing damage to enemy gods with attacks and abilities. Each state provides benefits to himself and allies or hindrances to enemies. On switching between states, Shiva's non-ultimate ability cooldowns are reduced by 2 seconds. On switching between states, Shiva's non-ultimate ability cooldowns are reduced by 2 seconds. Okay, it's kind of like Ullr's pretty cool. HP 5, MP 5 buff, aura 4 plus 0.5 per level. So 10, 14 at level 20. 14, so close to ESA, a little worse. I mean, a little, is it around ESA? I don't remember. HP 5, MP 5 debuff aura 210, so 12. That's pretty good. It's okay. Just off the stat. I mean, obviously, I would like to see it, but off what I'm reading, not a bad passive at all. Shiva's trident is emblazoned. Help! With the fire of Agni, as he spins it around, dealing damage, pulling in enemies, and leaving behind a firewall at the edge. Bliss. Allies gain a movement speed buff on passing the firewall. Cool. Similar to Janice. What's English? Destruction. Enemies suffer a protection reduction debuff on passing the firewall. Spin damage. 65 to 285. 60% is okay. This is pretty. That's pretty strong. Fire damage. Wait, where's this fire again? Where does this do the damage? Okay, the fire damage is 50 plus 10%, so small scaling. The spin damage is insane. I need to see it, obviously, but we'll just keep going over the numbers. Protection reduction is 20. Wow, that's really good. It scales pretty well. Wow, 20. That's nice. 3 seconds. Not very long. Could be longer. 5 seconds would be nice. 3 seconds is fairly short. Fire persist time 4 seconds. Okay, cost low mana cost, low CD. Looks a little bloated. We'll see though. Emblazoned. Okay, thank you, chat. Love you guys. Shiva hits the buff of his trident down into the ground, shaking the Damaru drum and causing energy to dissipate and damage enemies. Depending on the selection, enemies in the chosen segment are knocked up as well. Bliss. All allies gain an attack speed buff if the energy passes through them. Destruction. Enemies suffer an attack speed debuff. So, you know, buff, debuff, attack speed. 25%, 25%. The damage is 365. Whoa! Whoa! This guy hits pretty hard, guys. He has a lot of damage. Some good scaling, too. I definitely want to build some power on him. Shiva dashes into a pillar of fire where he meditates for a short duration. Wait, how many abilities is this? I feel like I'm reading a lot of abilities. Okay, no, I'm trolling. Taking reduced damage and CC immune. Okay, that's very tanky. Before being able to dash out again. Each dash deals damage to enemies as he meditates toward the pillar, emits an aura. The Bliss allies gain aura, gain a block stack, while Shiva gains up to 3 after leaving. Cool. Destruction. Enemies in the aura suffer constant damage. So damage 185, 30%. Okay. I mean, just look at this, right? 185, 300, 485, 485, 285, 600, 770. 770 just on base damage without scaling. I mean, this is a lot, you know, it's a lot of damage. Obviously the scaling is pretty good, and it seems like this, yeah, I mean, like, this character just brings a lot to the table. Attack speed buff, movement speed buff, protection reduction, attack speed debuff, aura, damage mitigation. Just a lot of numbers and words all over the place. But yeah. So let's keep on with this. The damage mitigation is 40%. That's pretty high. Aura damage 23 plus 4% of your physical power every 0.25 seconds. Wow. So times okay. Very long CDs, 16 seconds, 14 seconds, 12 seconds. Very long CDs. I don't know about that. Healing. All right, Shiva performs his 10 devil challenge for the next 6. For the next 6 with CC immunity. Wait, so double CC immunity? Whoa. Okay. And 20% damage mitigation. More mitigation? Okay. Every 1.5 seconds, he performs a step that can be pre-selected. Step 1, ally healing mana restore. How much healing? 80 to 60. Okay. Step 2, 50% damage and healing, and also amplification of the next step radius effects. Step 3, damage and shield reduction to enemies. Damage and shield reduction. That is cool. I like shield reduction. Healing is 160 for the first step. Mana, 10% of your mana. Amplification effects. 20% damage and healing. Percent damage. 325 is how much it does. Level 1 with 25. 50% scaling, not too bad. Shield damage, 50%. Okay, cool. Let's watch it. Can you show me that link, mama? What's up here? I haven't seen her. I haven't seen the character actually abilities. I just read them, but I'm definitely gonna check it out right now. Let's get it.
Absolutely awesome. Yeah, so beautiful.
A little bit of the things that are the iconic items that and just parts of his model, because we went through not just painstaking research, because a lot of this is things that we knew we needed to bring into the game. So it's actually whole, as well as, of course, he's got his snake buddy with him as well, which is actually integral there. We've got the horizontal lines in his forehead, the vertical eye, and I'm going to go through these a little bit. The crescent moon in his headdress. We've got his trident, which is his Damaru drum. There's just so much love that we've put into bringing Shiva into the game.
If y'all think we're at a good moment, let's just see a showcase of the abilities.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Knock it out. Let's show them off.
Reminds me like of a hell
so
warrior.
Awesome. I'm getting chills just from the sound effects and the visuals.
It reminded me like just from seeing that like a hell warrior type.
So much love from all the
Absolutely.
Literally firing on all cylinders constantly. So, I mean,
Shiva does actually have longer basic
Knockups
attacks
too.
than we would see with a normal spear or lance user, the 16-foot range. He does have a basic attack chain as well, so that third hit will be a meteor hit, while the second one will be slightly weaker. He is also, yeah, of course, he's a physical warrior, as we've mentioned in the Closer Look blog. I know people were a little bit confused, and there's some people saying he's an assassin. No, he's a physical warrior. Although we expect him to be
You already know up here?
in potentially different lanes, but we can talk about that again towards the end.
yeah, awesome. Well, then let's
Sounds
get
good,
into
Pony.
what about the passive? So, Samsara, you said?
Yeah, Samsara. It is the idea of the cyclicality of the universe. That is going to be his gameplay hook. It's going to be what we talked about in the Closer Look blog. He's a state switcher more than he is a stand switcher, and that you can see in his passive. It's going to be going from the two states of bliss and destruction, and you can go through these by dealing damage to enemy gods with the different attacks and abilities. There's basically two components to the state switching. One is just a primary buff or debuff state. So if you're in bliss, you're going to be providing HP5 and MP5 buff aura to yourself and allies. If you're in destruction, you're going to be doing the reverse to enemies. You're going to be decreasing their HP5 and MP5.
But you kind of can't control it though.
But playing off of that state
It's hitting.
for his abilities is that each one of his abilities outside of his ultimate will be providing different utility effects depending on which state he's in. So the abilities themselves won't be changing, and you're going to see, if you look at the patch notes, I'm sure you're going, why does he have so many different things? It's because you're going to basically be switching between different utility effects, and I'll go through each one of those as we continue on with the abilities.
Awesome. Well, now seems like a good time to continue forward into his first ability, Emblazoned Sweep.
Yeah, so his first ability, it's I want to say these are pretty simple, but when you put everything together, it's not quite so simple. But Emblazoned Sweep, Shiva is kind of enhancing his trident, the Trishula, with the Fire of Agni, which is what he's holding in his hands, as he spins it around him, dealing damage and pulling in all of the enemies. When he spins around the trident, he's also leaving behind a firewall at the edge that deals damage to enemies if they're inside of it. It's not a dot, but if you do cross within the threshold, you'll take damage. Think kind of like Ganesha's ultimate. Now, the spin does damage. The damage on the fire, of course, is there. And going into that passive a little bit more, if you are in the bliss state, so you can see that right now, the fire has a little bit of that blue tinge. And that's because if Shiva or his allies cross through that fire, they'll actually gain a movement speed buff. Now, if we switch to destruction state, enemies who go through that will actually be getting their protections reduced for a short duration. So that's how the passive kind of works. If you're in destruction,
That's pretty cool.
the allies no longer gain that movement speed buff, but the enemies gain a utility debuff instead. And like I said, we're going to talk about the different effects on the different abilities, but there's a primary core component, which is the circle pull-in and damage with that firewall, and then either the movement speed buff in Bliss or the protection reduction.
I love the thematic.
Yeah, I love you, Pierre. Thanks for the 4 months.
Creation it's just absolutely amazing. I love that. So I guess we'll move on to ability number 2, Damaru's Tempo.
How you been, baby? Thank you, man. I'll see you in the ring.
Damaru is that little drum that he's attached to the Trishula Trident, and that's what he's going to be using with the striking his trident in front of him with quite vigor that you can hear the Damaru shake. So what's happening here is you can actually see there's a segmented cone
like Tiamat.
where you can choose which
Knock
part
up.
of that cone you want to have the
But better.
a knock up, really, the enhanced effect, which is the knock up.
Oh.
The damage is going to be going in throughout the cone, the knockup will also be hitting depending on which segment you choose, and those are the
That's
core
cool.
components of the
That's
ability.
cool. I like
the
that.
damage in the knockup will always happen. Now for the states, if you're going to be in the Bliss state, it's an attack speed buff, always for Shiva, so you don't have to worry about it. He'll be gaining that. You can see the little buff that he gains in the tooltip icon.
How much is
Always
it?
for Shiva, so you don't have to
It
worry
gets
about
like
it. He'll be
20,
gaining that. You can
0.20.
see the little buff that he gains in the
0.25.
tooltip icon. As well as allies.
25%.
Again, if you actually are using this through enemies and through allies, they'll be gaining an attack speed buff as well. It doesn't matter. The segmentation is only there for the knockup. If he's in the destruction state, it's going to be an attack speed debuff instead.
This is, I would say, mostly for objectives, because I don't think you'd ever choose someone like a hunter for attack speed when the ability does like 250 plus it's a knockup. So it feels, I would say it feels kind of weird to like an AMC, for example, or something like that. Definitely just seems like you would use the attack speed specific for objectives, in my opinion.
Nothing positive for your allies, but for your enemies, they're going to be hitting with that damage and going to be hit with that attack speed debuff.
That is
a lot of
super
discussion
awesome.
came up with this one in the blog post. This was the ability I was referring to about the unique cone targeter, where we have had cone targeters with a segment. Actually, we had Atlas, but this one actually has a manual selection of which segment you want to do the bonus effect in, which is a very new effect, and has a very unique skill shot element to it that feels natural and you hit it a lot. But if you do get lazy or are careless, or you're trying to hit multiple targets, you might make a mistake and have to pay attention.
Yep. So when
I
it
agree with
does
that.
have a little bit of a time target, you can see which locks in that segment, so you can continue cast. Has quite a bit of CC and control. It's mostly between these two abilities. Getting a little bit ahead of myself, but if you're playing against a Shiva on lane, maybe you still have
That combo
try and
seems like it just
sustain
be
back
it.
from some of these knockouts.
It's like
Of
400
course.
fire
And
damage
I just
combo.
want to comment on something that I think I noticed while we were showing off that last ability. If I'm correct, Shiva is one of the few people that has a non-combat animation, so an animation that only plays if you're out of combat. Is that correct?
That is. It's a
That
feature
is.
that a lot of gods have, but a few within the last few years did not. It's something that essentially what it does is when the god is just idling like this, they will have a different idle than if they had just recently attacked. They would also have a different run and jump. So it's quite a few animations. It's a lot of the movement jumping, the movement, the jumping, and so it is a very expensive additional ad, but it's something that we've seen a lot of feedback for, and we are going to be attempting to bring back on as many future gods as we can. So much shout out to the animation team and for their planning and their work to get this on Shiva and make this god feel dancing subtle god.
Just animate, just
Dashes in a way, so you can choose a location where you're going to dash into, and you can choose that can be a short,
The short dash.
area, as you can see there. You can change the range on it, and Shiva dashes to that to the pillar, becoming CC immune and taking reduced damage while he's inside there, as well as pulsing kind of an aura effect, and then you can dash out again. Each dash deals damage to enemies in and out, as well as that aura, which does different things again, going back onto the passive. So if you're in Bliss state, you're going to be pulsing out a block stack to your allies, a maximum of 1. But Shiva himself, at the end of the duration of the pillar, will actually be accumulating block stacks. So he'll
That's
gain
sick.
up to 3 when he leaves, and you can see that as the orbs floating around him. If you're in just the destruction state, we kept this one a lot more simple. It's just going to be pulsing damage around him in that pillar.
awesome. It is. So, I love like the silhouette view. That is so awesome to
Yes,
look at.
exactly, and that's a good mention, because we wanted to utilize his stories and his lore, and he actually emerged from a pillar of fire. And team really seems just
A beautiful implementation. I think it looks absolutely stunning. 10 Dava.
as the primary yogi is the Dava, but this is it. This is his ultimate dance, and quite literally.
All right, let's see.
So in the Shiva Tandava, Shiva's CC immune for 6 seconds doing his dance, and there's up to 4 different steps that are always happening on the 1.5 second beats. In the first step, so also, I guess, before I get ahead of myself, you can see his buff. His
This is
ability
definitely
icons
very
change
support-like.
to 3 different steps, and you can choose which one you're going to be going into
Mine's kind
next.
of like
So,
horse.
No matter what, there's always going to be the step that is performed at the 1.5 second beat, but you can choose an interchange between them. The first one is a heal for himself and allies, as well as a soft mana restore. The second one is the amplification step, where it does a little bit of damage, a little bit of healing, but also amplifies the radius and the effects of the next step that is performed. So you can see here the radius actually gets bigger. The third one is a damage to enemies as well as a shield reduction to enemies. So you can choose which order of dances, and I mean, again, the art team just did such a fantastic
I
job.
think
whether it's
maybe
between the
you
effects
do.
to the
I don't know.
animations, which
I think it would be cooler to do something instead of a shield. Even though I thought shield was pretty cool, shield reduction. I don't know, but I feel like you don't really get that much value using this one, right? Like, how many shields? Nike, Odin. I mean, I guess your shell. That's not the worst.
It's just kind of mind-blowing that I'm almost, you know, awestruck and at a loss for words between sound design. Like each one of the different steps that he performs, whether it's destruction, bliss, or amplification, does a different pose. He's got his ongoing dancing loop throughout. I mean, really just a kudos to all the teams involved, and I'm going to be talking about that a little bit again later. But for the ability itself,
Yeah, man's not gonna be
6
meta
seconds
though.
of immunity, no extra movement speed.
Man's getting nerfed.
CC immunity specifically, and damage, heal, or a little bit of both.
That's pretty cool.
And that is just, but I feel like
That's
it's
pretty
worth
cool.
mentioning. The Destroyer, a creator, amazing.
All right. Well, now that we saw all those abilities, we saw all those things. We got some new skins. Bastet skin's pretty cool. Capri skin. I guess whatever that is. Chaos Noir. Damn, that art is nuts. Suki skin, cheesy skin. He has like 100 cheesy skins. Garnet Noir, Scarlet. That's pretty cool. Medusa.
Artemis.
What? Which one?
That's Artemis.
Oh yeah, it is Artemis. That's sick.
Yeah.
Oh, is that like an old Kukulkan skin? Crimson Keeper. It just looks like the characters, but with like different colors, I guess. All right, let's go over the stuff of the stuff. Slash, we don't care too much about that. Increase CD on this, on persistent teleport, 110. That was bound to happen, right? Change the cap from 30% of your max health to 20% of the target's max health on Aegis Judgment. Okay, because that was kind of doing a lot of damage. This is the damage one, correct? Decrease warm-up time from 1.5. I skipped the back harpy timer change. Did I, mechanics? Oh yeah, I did. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. In the jogger, harpy camp trio is now a single alpha harpy. Jungle. Okay. Jungle spawn timer is delayed. The initial back harpy camp spawns from 0.15 to 0. The initial back harpy camp behind red.
Yeah.
From 15 to 30. Oof. They killed the starts though. They killed the starts. You have to go speed red now.
Yeah.
There's no opening for speedbacks red now.
There's no other choice now.
There's no other choice. Yeah. I don't like that. Whatever. For reference, the popular part seems to be jungle mid, start speed, go to red, then mid wave together, duels Obelisk decrease the team gold experience rewards offering from 25 to 10, max 175 instead of gold for a filled obelisk per loop. Decrease interceptor damage to gods from 3% to 2% max health. Increase damage dealt by obelisk on any gods stealing offerings in the area from 10 to 15% of their max health. Okay. Just making OB a little bit worse. I think that was bound to happen, right? You have to balance that. I don't like this change, but you know, it is what it is. Now let's go into persistent teleport. Got nerfed a bit. Aegis of Judgment, a little bit less damage. The new rod, decreased warm-up time. That was bound to happen. 1.5 was too long. It doesn't even land. But decreased the scaling because they made it easier to land. I don't mind this. I like this change a lot. Blue Stone increasing HP 5 from 10 to 15. Woo! Whoa! That's a lot of HP 5 pretty early. 15. Blue Stone might be back. Heavy back. Might be one of the better ones now. And increased magical protections to 30 to 35 small and stone abiding. This is, you know, shout out to supports. I'm definitely going to have to think about this item. Titan's Bane got a buff. Oh my god. Yes. Even though it's a baby buff. 5 power, 8 seconds to the 2 seconds difference in the passive. Still a buff. We take those. Decrease the cooldown reduction from relics from 40 to 30. It bound to happen with, you know, the upgraded relics. I appreciate that. Decreased cooldown from 14 to 12. Decreased cooldown from 14 to 12. Wow, nice buffs for Jing Wei. Nice. Increased base damage from 80 to 240 to 90 to 270. Ooh. Increased Argus protections from 25 to 45, 25 to 65. Oh, I might be a Haramain. Trying to change Baka. Just delete the character. I mean, now subtracts 1 to 2 seconds from takedown and or Butcher Blade's cooldowns when he successfully eats a minion. Wow, pretty cool change. They made something out of nothing. I respect it. Rat. Let's see, increased critical strike chance for 2025. Yeah, because this was kind of a meme, to be honest. Like, oh my god, look, I crit that. I crit them in casual. It's so much fun. I crit for like 5,000. Yeah, it was garbage though. Increased passive self buff after hitting a dart from 15% physical lifesteal, 15% basic attack damage to 20%. Oh wow, nice changes. So more bound to crit. You know, 1 out of 4 autos. I mean, 1 out of 4 dashes are gonna crit with more percent basic attack damage and lifesteal. Very nice. Cool, but increase wake up early, slow, and attack speed. Slowly from 1 to 2 seconds to 2 seconds at all ranks. Nice. Buff to his laning phase. Decrease cooldown from 18 to 16, helping out Terra. Those are pretty long CDs, so helping her out. Increase physical power scaling from 60 to 70, helping out her tiny bit. Nice. Well, hope you guys enjoy the changes and learning with me. Some cool changes all around. And hope you guys like the new God Shiva. Definitely going to be running it down with Shiva and support and probably jungle, you know, having fun with it. You guys know I love having fun with it. Much love, guys. Appreciate you guys. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Let's get to the grind. Yo, Pony.